Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Real Talk. I'm your host, Saieed. We do want to thank you for joining us, viewers. So, straight into the news tonight. Arima MP, Penelope Beckles-Robinson, will be officially sworn in as opposition leader at President's House, St. Anne's on May 6th at 3 p.m. This according to a notice issued by the Office of the President earlier today. In an interview, Beckles-Robinson said the 6 people who she will choose to be opposition senator will be a blend of youth and experience. She also said that the opposition senator lineup could include a representative from Tobago and PNM candidates who were unsuccessfully in the April 28 general election. Beckles-Robinson hinted there could be an opposition senator who is a Tobagonian. So Trinidad and Tobago, congratulations on whoever that will be. Well, nevertheless, tonight we want to say congratulations to all the UNP, the UNC. Take your MP. All the UNC members who were appointed MPs. Today we want to congratulate them. So moving forward, they were opposition members, some of them. They know about the parliament, they know about the government, they know about the works. Those of you who were not MPs, you will be affiliated with the office, you will know your task, you will know what you have to do. So Trinidad and Tobago, I've been hearing over the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, today in fact, a lot of groups coming out and asking for meetings. All well and good, no problem with that. But some of the groups I've been hearing have been seeing posts, have been seeing questions relating, when is this, when is that, when is the next? But I will give them a few days. I will give them a few days before I start commenting and talking to some of these groups and them on national television. What I want them to do is keep in mind, for 9 years, you didn't say anything. Apparently you were sleeping. But nevertheless, I would hold my tongue right there. Sometime Wednesday, Thursday in this coming week, we're going to deal with some of them groups and them who all of a sudden they wake up from sleep. But nevertheless, we're going to leave that for our next day. Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar announced that her first priority would be to dismantle the Trinidad and Tobago Revenue Authority, that is TTRA. Speaking after 32 members of her government were sworn in at the President's House on Saturday, she declared that it is time for boots on the ground and for her government to get to work. She also mentioned other legislative agendas her government intends to work on. Kamala.
Our legislative agenda will kick in as we move to open our parliament. We have to reform a lot of our pieces of legislation. But areas of priority will be one, to repeal the Trinidad and Tobago Revenue Authority Act. My Attorney General has been given instructions as well to work with our cabinet to put in place as fast as we can stand your ground laws. Home invasion laws, and the regulations that we would need to grant firearms to law-abiding citizens of Trinidad and Tobago.
Persad-Bissessar said a mission of this new government would be to find a new revenue stream. Asked how that would be done without the TTRA, new Finance Minister Devendranath Thakur said he plans to conduct an assessment based on the streams of revenue available. So Trinidad and Tobago, we want to welcome, as the Minister of Finance, Devendranath Thakur. So congratulations to him. Hopefully we will see some changes coming in the next few weeks concerning revenue streams in Trinidad and Tobago. With the energy sector being one of several focus points of the new government, Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar says she intends to send Energy Minister Dr. Rudal Munilal to Grenada to explore oil and gas potentials. Making a statement on Saturday at the President's House, the Prime Minister explored other CARICOM countries Trinidad and Tobago can partner with. Listen to this.
My Minister of Energy has been mandated from day one. Let's explore the offer being made by Guyana to bring gas to Trinidad and Tobago. Let us explore as well. Let us explore as well what we can do. Suriname is also energy producing. Again, we can partner with them. But I have a surprise for you. I intend to send my Minister of Energy to Grenada because I'm being told that Grenada offshore has more gas and oil than the Dragon field. So shall we explore that? Let us explore that.
Speaking with the media, Persad-Bissessar confirmed that there are no future prospects of reviving the Dragon gas deal. What she said was officially dead. Kamala.
The Dragon gas is dead. We'd be foolish to not look elsewhere. And in fact, we should have started that such long ago. We should not have put everything into the Dragon gas. That is dead. It is dead. They kept it alive for 10 years. And we couldn't do that in 10 years. Let's look right in the camera. As I mentioned, Grenada and Sudan.
Now, Trinidad and Tobago. In April, former Prime Minister Stuart Young confirmed that the U.S. had revoked his country license to develop the gas field with Venezuela. Energy Minister Dr. Rudal Munilal said, officials in Guyana already expressed interest in having arrangements with Trinidad and Tobago pertaining to gas. Now listen to this.
We will have, of course, discussions with our counterparts in Suriname and Guyana in particular. And I'm very happy that even before the swearing-in, the Guyanese government and officials there have expressed interest in having arrangements with Trinidad and Tobago and discussions pertaining to gas. And it is something that we will quickly engage the government and the relevant officials in Guyana. This is a sector, as you know, that is a lead sector for the economy.
So now I ask myself, why is it that a former Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, and a former Prime Minister also, and a Minister of Energy, Stuart Young, why didn't they never venture into Guyana right here? Didn't they venture into Guyana? Guyana is not sanctioned by the US. Guyana is booming. Not the kind of booming. Klong and Bird is talk about children, not that kind of bloom. When Klong and Bird say, well, the economy is blooming, we just had to tighten the belt. Yeah, which means we're going to suffer some more. Hold on. That is Stuart Young, Rowley, Klong and Bird kind of booming. Mean tighten your belt, go on next hole. But Guyana is right there. They're in the oil and gas sector. The country is booming. So all this time they spend in Venezuela, a sanctioned country by the US. All this time they spend there, they could have spent it in Guyana. The money they invested there, they could have invested in Guyana. Today we might have been getting oil from there. It's sad, you know. It's sad to know that, hey, this is where we reach. I believe Stuart Young called a press conference today. So Stuart Young called a press conference today. I believe Stuart Young is not part of the PNM opposition, but he called a press conference today to discuss what exactly? To tell you how God didn't want Trinidad and Tobago to hear this man, even the audio was given problem. But nevertheless, Trinidad and Tobago, we have a new administration, a new government, new faces. Let's wish them the best. And all the goons and them who were sleeping all the time for the last 9 years, all they take a rest. All they take a rest. Because for 9 years we didn't hear all you. Or trust me, when you all start a back up a tree, I could be on top of the tree watching that all you. Yeah, watching that all you. So if it's the only man in Trinidad and Tobago will go against all those sleeping groups for not demanding from the last PNM administration, and trust me, I will put you in your place. You see the ladies arm of the PNM? I see all now start to back. All now start to back after 10 years. Not a problem. See, Wednesday, Thursday, lower down in the week, I will deal with all you. I will deal with all you. So Trinidad and Tobago, new faces. Tonight, I would like to hear from you all. What do you expect of this new government? What do you expect of this new government? 2386716. Feel free to call in. You could congratulate them, the MP in your community. Congratulate him. Let him know, well, you're willing to meet, you're willing to sit down, you're willing to talk. Because the last administration, we had a lot of calls, they never used to see the MP. Some of them don't know who is in charge. Only election time they're seeing them. Let's hope that with this new government, the constituencies in Trinidad and Tobago will be able to meet with a representative as often as possible to fix the community. To fix the community. That's the only thing. That's the only thing. Fix the community. So again, I say viewers of Real Talk with Saieed Ali, who have been viewing my program for the last 8 years, just how I used to demand from the MP on the PNM administration, I'm going to do the very same thing with the UNC administration. Like I said, I will continue saying, I am not affiliated with no political party. And I may be the only one on television in Trinidad and Tobago who is not affiliated with parties in this country. The only one who can demand something from the MPs. So we are going for a short commercial break, viewers. But when we come back, you're going to hear lots more right here on Real Talk. You have a call? Call, good night. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Yes?
Hi, good night.
Good night, I'm here and you go right ahead.
Okay, but he said he's going for a break.
We'll be right back, viewers.
We'll be right back.
When life throws you a curveball and you need a clear path forward, trust Real Talk Wrecking Service to get you back on track. Whether you're stuck on the roadside or dealing with an unexpected breakdown, our 24/7 wrecking service is just one call away. Fast response, reliable towing, and a team that's got your back. At Real Talk Wrecking Service, we don't just tow, we rescue. Real Talk Wrecking Service, your lifeline on the road to recovery.
Tired of wasting precious time at the bank applying for a loan, only to be denied? We understand your frustration. Here at Realtor Group of Companies, we take a different approach. Contact Saieed, Managing Director of Realtor Group of Companies and licensed moneylender at 238-6716, 242-7690 or 339-1670. Feel free to visit our office at number 14 Carney Savannah Road, Chaguanas, or number 132 Superior Road, Victoria Village, San Fernando.
At Real Talk Studios, we dedicate our time to highlight the glaring issues we face within our community. Catch us live every Wednesday between 7 to 8 p.m. Real Public Concern. Because your concerns are meant to be heard. Send your email to realpublicconcerns@gmail.com.
Real Talk Financing is offering you 5% on a fixed deposit for 5 years and over with upfront interest. Contact our central office at 238-6716 or our San Fernando office at 242-9944. You don't want to miss this great opportunity. Invest today and watch your investment work for you.
Welcome back.
So Trinidad and Tobago, welcome back to Real Talk. Remember viewers, we at Real Talk Financing, we offer you loan. Remember that viewers, you're looking for cash borrow, it's not a problem, contact us. So we have a call on the line. Caller, good night. Hello? Stick I got the click one time. Also viewers, we at Real Talk Financing, we are offering you 5% on our fixed deposit. Remember that we are the only licensed financial institution in Trinidad and Tobago that is offering you 5% on our fixed deposit. Now the good thing about this fixed deposit is that you're getting your interest up front. Remember that viewers, your interest up front. No other financial institution in Trinidad and Tobago is giving you your interest up front. Also viewers, be a member of the credit union, open a savings account, plant a seed today, so tomorrow you can reap the benefit. Call our office, set up an appointment, come down, and let's start the paperwork. So as we start back our program tonight, viewers, former Prime Minister and former Energy Minister Stuart Young sounded an alarm over Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissess's plans to seek new gas and oil supply source from CARICOM countries. Speaking during a media briefing at Balize House on Monday, today, he said, any gas supply from Grenada to Trinidad and Tobago, if feasible, could take 10 to 15 years. Listen to this.
It is not an easy thing. You have to find companies that are going to spend significant sums of money to do the exploration, to do the proving, and then to go through the commercial concepts. The minimum amount of time this can take, if you find significant reserves that make it commercial, would be between 10 to 15 years. Trinidad and Tobago has to look at the short term and the medium term, which is exactly what was being done and should continue to be done.
Now viewers, he added that a gas exploration project in Grenada, which was then under the UNC's government, has begun in 2012, but then abandoned the chopper in 2018. Listen to this.
The facts are that this one well was drilled in a field called Nutmeg, That one exploration well unfortunately had to be abandoned and has been capped. That is since 2018. The way the energy sector works is that right now there are no proven reserves. There are no proven reserves, meaning it is only when you have proven reserves you can begin to look at how do you commercialize that gas. How do you now produce the gas?
He said much work needed to be done to firstly find out about such gas reserve, and said there must be proof of gas reserve in Guyana and Suriname. Young warned that any such pipeline from Guyana or Suriname to Trinidad and Tobago would pass through Venezuela water. Listen to this.
If gas is being brought, that is a variable cost because it will depend on which gas field it is, where the gas is coming from, what is the length of the pipeline, whether you're going deep water, whether you're going shallower waters, and all these types of things. It is a very, very significant cost, but ultimately it has to pass through Venezuelan waters.
So I want to ask Stuart Young a question. Stuart Young, do you think after 9 years of being in the PNM government, do you think after 9 years of acting in position as a prime minister, do you think people in Trinidad and Tobago will believe you? Do you think anybody in the Caribbean is going to believe you? You all did business with a sanctioned country. And that is the hard thing. Hard part of it to swallow is Trinidad could have gotten sanctioned, revoked license by the US because of sanctioned countries dealing is a must. Is a must. It's not to say we look for that, but that was the road you all carried Trinidad and Tobago down. That was the road. It would have been sooner or later we would have been sanctioned by the US. And Stuart Young is an attorney, That's the sad part about it. The man was an attorney. And yet, look where we end up. Look where we end up. Thank God Trinidad and Tobago wasn't sanctioned. Then no countries would have wanted to do business with us. None. Call a good night. Hello.
Man, I know, well, firstly, let me congratulate all the ministers on their success, and the citizens of this country is looking forward to those ministers working to make this country a better place for all of us. I know you is a very powerful man in this country, and you will keep your fingers on the knobs and control to ensure this country go forward and to question them and challenge them to do what they take the oath of office for, to do good to all mankind. And to the Minister of Homeland Security in particular, Roger Alexander, the citizens looking forward to you performing. The citizens know you was in national security, you was in the police service, and they are looking forward to you taking decisive action against criminals and to make this country a better place. And find the citizen happy. Give the police the resources, as you said. But the citizen also take note that you have mentioned nothing of how you're going to get rid of the criminal elements in the police service, which there are about 60% of police officers, and you know that directly and indirectly involved with crime and criminal activities. Every crime in this country, every lawless act, every wrongdoing is connected to the police service. So we want to hear more on that. Then we're going to see, you will give the citizens some hope when we hear more of that. And Ola Christopher questions to answer. You must question Ola Christopher and ask her why today the police service has 5% of a particular ethnic group. What role she played in that? And if she played any role in that, she must be held accountable for it, because discrimination is the worst crime on the face of this earth. And you must now fix that, the police service, to reflect the national anthem, every creed and race find an equal place. And to the Chief of Defense Staff, air marshal or something they call he. He never fly a kite in his life, but he's an air marshal. He must also answer questions, right, Mr. Alexander? He must answer questions what role he played in having the defense force today with 1% Indians. And if he played any role in that, which he did, he must be held accountable for that. And justice must be served on this, the citizens of this country must feel every creed and race find an equal place. Mr. Said, keep your knobs, and we will keep our fingers on the knobs and control to make sure and hold this government accountable to making this country a better place. God bless you, Mr. Said, and your staff. Keep up the great work you are doing.
Thank you, my friend. Viewers also rejecting Pasal Business's claims that the Dragon gas deal was dead. Young said the Dragon deal was still open for negotiation after he met with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Young.
I invite everyone to go back and to look at that readout from Secretary of State Rubio and to read in between the lines of diplomatic language. The door was not closed. It was far from closed. There was an opening. We were going to now negotiate how to go forward. You have a 30-year license. Now, you run into difficulties because of the insults that were being hurled on a weekly basis at the leadership in Caracas.
You know what I don't understand? If they wanted to have negotiation, they would not have seized the license. That's number one to start with. They would not pull back your license. They would not seize it. Anybody could sit down and have a discussion. Any individual, any minister, any parliamentarian, anybody could sit down and have a discussion. But the fact is that your license was seized, it was pulled back, it was cancelled, it was stopped. I don't know if power gets to some people head that they don't understand the difference. When you get your license seized from driving, you can't do anything about that. You can only talk. If I this and if I that and if I the next. But the fact remains, everything stood still. You can't drive. You got to look for something else to do. And I don't know if Stuart is not getting that. For some reason or the other, he is not getting it. You're going to have discussion for what, 10 years? 15 years? But nevertheless, someday he will get it. Someday. Newly sworn in Minister of Finance, David Jonathan Koo, has confirmed that no property tax will be introduced and says anyone who pays the fee will be refunded. Same thing I was telling Allah from the beginning. But we in Trinidad, imagine this, Trinidad and Tobago, imagine this. Clongenbert exempted himself from that bracket, but went to the parliament to pass a law, pass an amendment, pass a legislation that you, the citizens, if you do not pay property tax, you will be charged $5,000 under a criminal offense. So, how does the PNM people feel? Right? That your MP, your PNM MP went in parliament, excluded himself from tax bracket, passed it down to you all being PNM supporters. Good? PNM supporters. Let me just say it like that. I ain't for no political party, no, so I could call all the PNM supporters. I could call all the UNC supporters. But how did you all feel when Clongenbert went to the parliament and sanctioned that shot against you, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago who voted for the party? How did you all feel? When the Revenue Authority now starts to come on stream under the PNM administration, You all heard of some of the things? If you don't pay property tax, if you don't pay your rental value, what's going to happen? You can lose your house. You can lose everything inside your property. How did you all feel now? Now you can breathe a sense of relief. Because under this administration, Kamala Prasad says, they're going to suspend it, they're going to cancel it, they're going to get rid of it, they're going to dismantle it. How you all feel? A sense of relief? Call a good night.
Yes, sir, good night.
Go right ahead.
Sorry, the last time we talked, we had a different government. No government change, right? Let me tell you something, right? I'm talking now from a question that was made to the Express, from the Express newspaper, right? They asked the question, if it is, we think that Kamala Prasad could make the country happier and safer within 6 months, right? Let me tell you something, I know the country happier. That one thing accomplished already. It's just to make the country safer now. And I want to ask a question here, 2 questions before I go, right? First of all, Stuart Young is no longer the Prime Minister. He's
Correct.
not a minister.
Correct.
Right? I want to know if the media are going to give that kind of airtime to come and talk that sort of rubbish for people now that nobody don't want to hear and the electorate already spoken towards against him. Nobody want to hear again. We're looking forward now to brighter days. We're not looking for the PNM and Stuart Young to come and give we advice. Because when they was in government, they wasn't taking on the poor man. Everything they was doing was against the poor people in this country. They was taking all the backdoor deals. They was doing everything against the poor people and the citizens of this country. Tell me if I'm wrong on the side.
No, you're correct.
And let me tell you something, to Makila Pandey, concerning this whole rant about the new Attorney General. Let me ask you a question. You were silent for so long, right?
Correct.
Let me ask you one question, right? When it is Stuart Young swaying Robinson Regis as the Attorney General, did you say anything concerning Robinson Regis, although she didn't have a practicing law license? But you're coming out to question a man who's seasoned, who have the experience in the office. You're questioning that man's ability because of some personal vendetta you have against the man. Anyhow, side, people like them, you have to ignore them for the next 5 years. You just have to ignore them and let the country run partner. Anyhow, you enjoy your night.
Thank you, my friend. Trinidad and Tobago, Tanku stated that it would be inappropriate to penalize people who have already paid fees for property tax. He was speaking at a media on Saturday. Listen to this.
I think it would have been inappropriate for persons to have been paid and penalized by having been paid, having done their duty according to the law, and then being penalized if the law is removed. So more on that coming back. I think it's logical that those persons will have to be refunded.
I've been saying do not pay property tax. You all are being bullied. You all are being bullied. In terms of the current administration finding money, the minister said he would begin by eliminating certain contracts. Listen to this.
Low-hanging fruits with regards to getting access to funding and support would have come from eliminating some of the concerns raised by the procurement regulator in the 2023 report, in which she said that $5 billion was lost in inappropriately given contracts. That's what we start with, $5 billion.
So Trinidad and Tobago, since they say they are going to pay back the persons and them who paid property tax, Cloggingboard said they collected $91 million in property tax. And they haven't shown these citizens of Trinidad and Tobago who paid property tax, they haven't showed where that money was disbursed to. Which corporation collected money? They never showed the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago that. Right? That's number one. Number two, what I would like to see Kamala Prasad do, remember all the ministers got a raise in salary. Trinidad and Tobago. Remember, 900 individuals in Trinidad and Tobago got salary increased. Marvin Gonzalez said, I don't know if we had a video. Marvin Gonzalez, former Minister of Public Utilities, said to Trinidad and Tobago that you will have to cut down carrying your family out. If you go to dinner 2 or 3 times for the month, you may have to cut it down for 1 time. Marvin Gonzalez got an increase. So while Marvin was telling you, you who working hard for your money, you who paying tax to fund his free flight, to fund his minister vehicle, to fund him when he go Hyatt or wherever, ministerial perks, you know, you the citizen who was paying tax, he telling you to stop carrying your train out. You ought to cut it down. 1 time for the month is good enough. He got an increase in salary. How do you all feel about that now? And then they will turn around and say, we are working for you. Where the video, director? Trinidad and Tobago. You all just feel Saieed is come here. But Saieed is a man that's getting done. Saieed is a man that's educate you all. Saieed is a man that show you what they're talking in Parliament. While you saying A for apple, them saying A for another way to make money from all you. Yeah, A for avenues. Call a good night.
Good night.
Go right ahead, you're live, my dear.
Okay, I want to make a comment on what the former Prime Minister said. I agree with the previous caller who said he is no longer our Prime Minister.
Correct.
And he should not be making comments. However, there are a couple things I want to see.
Go right ahead.
Number 1, he does not talk, when he used to talk as Prime Minister, he does not talk with all the information. He talks with information skewed to always make the PNM look good, and they do not care about Trinidad and Tobago. I have proof in paper of $1.8 billion that was arranged to be taken from the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. I have proof of it. Okay? That's number 1. Number 2, concerning the oil and gas that is found in Grenada, I must say that for any of that kind of arrangement to be made with Trinidad, a lot of work has to be gone in into that deal. Firstly, they have to, a lot of land issues surrounding where a well is must be sorted out. That's number 1. And then before that is even sorted out, you have to know what is the potential of a well. Those things is not a day work. Those things take like 6 months each, number 1 and number 2. And then you have to start looking at the track from Trinidad to Grenada, or if we're dealing with Guyana, Trinidad to Guyana for pipelines. That is another 3 years of work. So nothing related to bringing gas or oil from either Guyana or Grenada to Trinidad is going to be like straightforward and will happen in 3 months. That could never happen.
We understand
all those things take time. And to obtain the investments, our government will have to go into negotiations with the big players, because small players simply do not have the finance to finance these kinds of operations. You have to go into partnerships with the big players. So, notwithstanding Stuart made whatever statements he made, and notwithstanding the comments that the new Prime Minister has made, I would say playing with our CARICOM neighbors is the better way to go, but also, you know, make sure they do the due diligence on what is going on with the Dragon gas field, because Stuart Young and the former Prime Minister Rowley did not give the public all of the correct details on it. So more information has to be, they have to go into the petroleum sharing contracts, all the contracts, and they have to carefully read, they have to get their lawyers on board and carefully read the fine words and the fine print. Thank you.
Caller, before you go, you there?
Yes.
Take this number, 267.
2 what?
267.
Yes.
7325.
Yes. Yes.
That is my WhatsApp number. Send all the documents you have to that number.
Okay.
Thank you, my dear. I was just waiting, you know. Let the operator talk to her. Trinidad. So Trinidad and Tobago, as I was saying, I want to let her listen to this video.
And even within our own homes, we may have to call our homes and our families together around a table and say, you know what? We can no longer afford to go to the movies twice a week or 3 times a week. We may not be able to bake ham every month or make macaroni pie. We may have to cut back because we may have to reapportion some of the scarce resources to other important things. Pie, we may have to cut back every month or make macaroni pie. We may have to cut back because we may have to reapportion some of the scarce resources to other important things. And sometimes our children may scream at us and they might throw themselves into tantrum. And they may even throw shoes at us and break glasses. But that child, that young boy and that young girl must have no doubt in their minds that the decisions of their parents is for them.
Trinidad and Tobago, he got an increase in salary. While you had to cut down 1 time for the month, your taxpaying dollars funding his lifestyle as an MP, but you had to cut down. You had to cut down. And the people of the PNM administration, they welcome that. They welcome that. They welcome that. They still had to work hard. You still had to pay your tax. Now you cut down on your children entertainment. You cut down going out. Your children, your own children, you had to cut down. 2 times, 3 times for the month. You had to cut down. While he living at large, with your taxpaying money, you had to cut down. And that's what he tell all you. And what you do? All you swallow it down nice and easy and nobody else say nothing. Absolutely nothing all you say. Caller, good night.
Night, Saieed.
Go right ahead, you're live.
Let me tell you something. You're going to see what a barrage of interviews by the media against all those who are opposed to this government, like especially Stuart Young and all of them. You're going to see they keep interviewing people who always have a negative something towards this government. Understand? And that they feel by doing that they're going to make the government look bad. Now, I want to tell you something, Saieed. You could imagine that this Stuart Young and them, they closed on Petrotrin. They closed on Petrotrin with the mere idea that they were going to get gas and oil from Venezuela.
Correct.
This is why you see now in this predicament that they want the gas the deal to go through with Venezuela. Because bribes pass, money pass, right? Let me have fool with them. Because you can't tell me something happening like this. Sanctions from America and what that again.
Thank you, my friend.
You're so interested.
Thank you, my friend. We're running on time. I do apologize. So Trinidad and Tobago, remember, Remember, the former administration collected $91 million from property tax. This tax money, you the citizens have to pay this tax. Why? Because you were bullied into paying it. I keep saying it over and over and over. You were bullied into paying tax. Property tax. While Marvin got an increase. So he could carry out his family instead of 1 time, 4 times for the month. You now have to cut down on carrying your children. Why? So you all could pay property tax. Listen to this.
I have to ask a simple but pertinent question. Where is the $91 million in property tax that this government claimed to have in their hands? They did it when they presented the 2024-2025 budget. They proudly boasted about collecting this money. And yet, to this day, no local government municipality have received a single cent. Before I continue, however, I must make this absolutely clear. I, my political leader, the Honorable Kamala Prasad Bisesta, and all representatives of the United National Congress, we do not support this oppressive property tax.
Sydney was telling all $91 million. Anybody hear where that money went? To this date, Clonenbert and even tell Trinidad and Tobago which corporation in our country inherited from the $91 million to fix the community. Oh, Saieed, you're bashing. Let me tell you something. How many communities have Savannah for the kids to go and play in? How much communities have a proper box drain system to crowd water when rainy season come to prevent flood? How much? But I heard people say, I will vote PNM till I die. You will die riding a donkey cat while your neighbor working in the same work you working, and them have a Benz and you still remain with a donkey cat sit down on the how you call it? The cat. You know why? Illiterate thinking. That's how you call it. Illiterate thinking. You know why? The capacity to think beyond our dead broken. The capacity to think beyond that, you don't have it. And you wouldn't learn. You wouldn't educate yourself. Your neighbor working the same corporation work you work in. Same corporation work, same salary. But your neighbor have the capacity to think outside the box while you still want to ride donkey cat. Sad, it? Sad. I pay them till I'm dead. Illiterate thinkers. As you ain't till I'm dead. Better yourself, forget the party. If I used to think about party, you think I would have been here? You think I would have reached where I reached today? No. No. I think about betterment for me and for my children. My father, my grandfather used to drive bullcat. That is all your business. That is not me. You know why? Capacity to think outside the box. Caller, good night.
Very, very good evening to you, Mr. Saieed.
Thank you, my friend. Same to you.
Mr. Saieed, I want to show you how high the level of hypocrisy is within the PNM women. So much women in this country have been slaughtered, raped, abducted, and you never hear the women arm of the PNM utter one word.
Nothing.
No, they're worried about Kamala is employing enough women and she having it. That is not all your business. What all is study do? Jesus Christ, that is not all your business. Mind all your business, please, all the best.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you, my friend. 6. So Trinidad and Tobago. Oh, this just remind me. Where he say home invasion and thing like that, right? Sagram Singh Suklal, Renuka made Trinidad and Tobago to understand the PNM administration govern parliament. She made Trinidad and Tobago to understand that they will not support stand your ground. How many females in Trinidad and Tobago got raped? How much of them got killed in home invasion? How much family were brutalized in home invasion? What Sagram Singh was. Did Sagram Singh visit any one of your homes under home invasion? PNM, let me tell you, all you go like me, you know. But the truth is the truth. The truth is the truth. All those home invasions take place and women were brutalized and raped and kicked and cuffed. The jewelry gone. Where the Women's League of the PNM? The mouth zip, the tongue get glued, can't talk, they was sleeping. Like I said, I not for party, you know. I for performance. That is what I am here. I spending my own money, me asking nobody. You know why? I want to see Trinidad and Tobago better. Better. That is why I could come here and talk about the two parties and nobody can run down. Nobody can run down because why? I'm not on either side, I'm not on a scale. That is the difference with Saieed. Hence the reason why I got a legislation and amendment passed for Trinidad and Tobago. Hence the reason why. So viewers, Homeland Security, Roger Alexander is promising a more, let me say, vigorous process with regards to application for firearm users license. Speaking to the media following Saturday's swearing in of the cabinet, Alexander said, while the government will ensure the timely delivery of firearms to citizens, there will be more stringent requirement to access these FULs. Roger.
Well, we might change one or two of the requirements. However, every citizen entitlement remains the same. Gangs have been plaguing our communities for months. What I suggest they do first is remove themselves from this gang thing. I told persons in my constituency, stop attaching numbers to you as an individual. Do you take into consideration that your family living here, your children go to school here? And when you destroy this nation by your behavior, how do you expect us to strive? How do you expect persons to come here and invest in us? But then law enforcement, national security must now take a proactive measure, which must be either you conform to the laws of the land or have the laws of the land treat with you.
Sagram Singh passed through some of them things where people passing through in Trinidad and Tobago. And I said it out without apologizing. Oh, let the country know that the PNM run the parliament. And we ain't bringing no stand your ground laws. Which family did she visit whose wife, whose daughter was raped and kicked and abused? Which family did Sagram Singh visit? Which one? Where Rastaman gone? Where Heinz gone? All of a sudden, Heinz, the top lip and the bottom lip get crazy glue. It's sad. It's stinking sad. The citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, that's what they wanted. How much? I'll go vex with me tonight, you know, but reality is reality whether I like it or not. It doesn't matter how much you quarrel with the dal, tomorrow you're still going to boil the dal. So listen to this now. Alexander, he also weighed in on the Prime Minister's plan for home invasion legislation, where Posad announced that stand your ground law and home invasion laws were coming. Listen to this.
After the law is created, then you will see. I suggest that men may not want to ever enter a person's home again. A home is a man's castle. and he must defend his castle by any lawful means necessary.
Also, viewers, Prime Minister said she is confident that her government will decrease the crime rate significantly in Trinidad and Tobago. Listen to this.
I believe we can do it. I don't know if you recall the 2010 to 2015 period. We did bring crime down to the lowest, in fact, in 31 years. And we didn't have many of the things we have today. Today we have the technology, far more technology that can help us in the fight against crime. So I'm quite confident that we will be able to bring crime down. We may not be able to eradicate it completely, but I do believe and we'll give it every shot that we have to bring the crime levels down.
So viewers, Kamala Prasad-Bisesa said she will secure operational readiness for the return of the Children Hospital. Listen to this.
I want to open another passing today. I said, I have to open this hospital. It is a state-of-the-art hospital. How soon will depend on when we send our teams in there to do an assessment of feasibility as soon as we can.
How are they feeling now? How are they feeling? Terence, what did Terence Dial Singh say? He's the best health minister past through Trinidad and Tobago. But nevertheless, speaking to the media about her plans of action, Minister of Works and Infrastructure, Jolene John said, although no timeline was given, the ministry will work on a time-appropriate pace, she said her statements to the media. Listen to this.
One will first have to go in and see what is there. Remember, that hospital was ready. We were commissioning it the day I left, meaning in about 6 months it will have been taken in patients. We were training nurses and so on. Now, 10 years later, you have to do a gap analysis, you have to bring in the biomedical engineers and see what is missing, what they gave away, took away, whatever happened. So you really need to have a situation analysis. So I don't want to put a timeline on it, but it will be very, very quick. And Kamala Prasad-Bisesa timeline is quick.
So Trinidad and Tobago, the hospital was commissioned by the People's Partnership Government in 2015, but remain underutilized. Didn't used properly. But Terence bumping gum. I ain't hearing him at all. I ain't hearing him at all. But nevertheless, Trinidad and Tobago, like I said, I am going to hold them responsible. That is my job. So we are out of time for tonight, but nevertheless, our rerun is tomorrow from 11:30 to 12:30, and we'll be right back here Tuesday night for Real Talk with Saeed. Good night.